Who else have we got? We want to take a look at the Verge, see what they've got to say, since we always agree with everything the Verge says. What? Why are we laughing? No sarcasm.
Oh, no.
No pictures.
No
in reading mode, so back we go. All right, so we're on the Verge now. Let's take a look at what they've got. Okay. I think we've made our feelings on
IKEA gaming
on Rode pretty well known.
That it's solid.
Okay, so the IKEA gaming hand is weird.
Very weird.
But I'm not going to knock it. Because depending on what weird aesthetic you have for maybe a streaming studio, that might be appropriate.
I would say this, as an artist, if you're doing art streams,
sure,
that would be really fun to have.
Yeah.
On display.
And for $25, that's not a bad prop. Mm-hmm. It's less than the $95 for the...
Nope. This LaCie...
garbage.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sorry,
honestly,
garbage.
Honestly, I'm not even going to talk about it for its product.
I am.
I just
never buy a hard drive from LaCie.
Okay.
They are absolute garbage. If you're going to do it, get a Western Digital, something like that. Do not get a LaCie if you want to keep the data that's on your drive.
Their branding name makes me think of Final Fantasy 13. It was the name of a race of people. They were called the LaCie.
I had a buddy who had 10 of those for his photography. 9 failed.
Ooh.
I would have expected 11.
Disgusting.
They're absolute hot garbage.
That's nasty.
The Elgato game capture. Yep. For simple stuff, it is industry standard. Obviously, for like what we do, we've got a pretty big capture card in here for inputs, and all that comes in SDI. But
there's a smaller one though, right? That's like a little less expensive.
Yep.
I'm surprised that one's not like the gift.
The HD60. I think,
yeah.
The S Plus.
I think so too. I feel like that's there's definitely 3. I feel like that one would have been the better choice to say like this is a gift for someone.
They do specify that this is the high-end capture card.
Right.
So there are other versions. I think there's an HD60. Yeah. So this one can do, I think this is the one that does 4K 30. Mm-hmm. The S does 1080 60. And then the HD6, there's an HD 30, I think, that does 1080 30. So, but yeah, Elgato, when it comes to standard capture cards, Elgato is it.
Good stuff.
There's also one of those around here somewhere.
I think I might have one somewhere.
Everybody has their opinions on cameras. I have not liked Sony's cameras since the 90s. Plain and simple.
I feel like it's always Nikon.
I am 100 a Canon.
Canon. That was the other one.
Shooter.
I mean, it's always between...
We've got a ton of Canons here.
It's always between those two.
Yeah.
That
all of our floor cameras are Canons. Mm-hmm. The ones that we use in the studio are not anymore. Mm-hmm. But all of our floor stuff is Canon. And I've got 2 Canon still cameras as well. Mm-hmm. It's all I'll shoot with, but you know, Sony has its place in the market, I suppose, as does Nikon. I'm not a fan of Nikon. I think they work wrong. I think the interface is wrong.
Sure.
You were forced into one recently, and you couldn't figure out how to make it stop making noise.
Did not like it.
But with the Canon, you know exactly where it is on the Canon. We've done it before.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think they work backwards.
Sure.
Yep. If you want to gimbal, the DJI is it. Their stuff is unbelievable for consumer stuff. I mean, so depending on what you're doing, the different DJI stuff is different, right? if you're doing big photography or video stuff, the Ronin is great, but it's expensive. They have a little handheld, self-gimbaled 4K recording and streaming camera.
Okay.
That retails for like $249. Yeah. And,
interesting.
And obviously, this gimbal is based on what they put on their high-end drones.
Right.
And, you know, if the thing that it's filming from
It's jiggling.
is doing this all day long and it's still able to get a stable shot,
It's pretty good. Pretty solid.
the Shure MV7, when it comes to microphones, for USB is decent.
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't probably go with a USB microphone. I think at this point it's XLR all the way. If you're just doing a single one and you really want good quality,
Sure.
something like this and a USB interface for XLR would be the way to go. But if you want to go with Shure, the SM7B is the way to go. It is industry standard. It is massively expensive. Any radio station you've ever listened to is using an SM7B. Plain and simple. I think you and I were talking about this recently. If I'm not mistaken, everybody from Joe Rogan to Ben Shapiro uses an SM7B. Like, everybody in the industry uses it. The famous images of Rush Limbaugh and his golden microphone.
Yep.
It was a golden SM7B originally. So like everybody uses a 7B for radio. It is the microphone. Back to Rode, that's a great microphone for a camera. Peak Design Everyday Backpack. I don't know. $260 for a backpack seems insane to me.
That's a lot of money for a backpack. I mean, I'm sure it's real neat, and I'm sure it's got all of the compartments that your little heart will just desire. But $260 for a backpack. I don't know about that, Chief.
I got to go back to the mic real quick. The Lord's mic. If Jesus preached today, it would be on an SM7B. Very true.
Oh, man.
Absolutely very true. Zoom H6, industry standard. If you're doing portable audio recording. We literally recorded a 3000 Brigade show with one of these from under the stage. We got the entire crowd audio with that.
It's really cool.
The Bear Dynamic.
I almost thought that said Birdemic. I'm going to leave it at that.
Shock and terror.
I was certainly shocked.
Bear Dynamic makes really good headphones. We've interviewed them at CES a number of times over the years. They make really great headphones. They are reference headphones, which is important to note. They are not designed for consumer use. They're not, they're not Beats, right? You're not gonna get all the extra bass and all of that. You're gonna get proper reference audio.
Sure. You're not going to feel your kidneys rumble with this one?
Exactly. Unless the original audio is that.
Sure.
That's the thing. They have a wide reproduction range, but they're not adding anything to the mix.
And
they are what they are.
That's a really good price, too, for something like that.
They really are.
That's a real good price.
Okay. So I'm aware of the Lume Cube. They are massively expensive.
Yeah.
But I've heard very good things about them over the years.
Interesting.
And they're full color. So, if you needed to do, like, you could put them back here and do a wash light and stuff like that. So they're interesting, but you have to really want them.
That is real expensive.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the Elgato Master Mount L, except that it's a mounting tripod, of which we have many.
Adam has something on that, though.
Really hit or miss. I have 3. One no longer releases or lowers, which is a common issue with the product.
I thought I recognized this.
Otherwise, they're really nice. So when they work, they're great, but when they don't, sad story.
They're real bad.
That's a shame. So you got to know that going into it, I guess. The Philips Hue Smart Light Strip. If you want to program your lights, if you're creating an application and you want, then they're great. Otherwise, woo, $80 for an LED strip. These things in here retail for $12. They're Wi-Fi.
And they're great.
And they're controllable. They're not Bluetooth. They are Wi-Fi, which is even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really designed for programmers, because they're fully programmable.
Sure.
But you've got to have a base station for it. There's a whole ecosystem around the Philips Hue stuff, which is interesting, but
it's expensive.
But like the Monster Smart Illuminescent stuff doesn't require an ecosystem.
Right.
And the app is capable of doing products that are outside of just Monster, like we were talking about earlier.
You just can't beat that.
Yeah. So yes, the Philips Hue products are really nice, but I have not been able to justify their cost. The Wacom One drawing tablet, I think we have said yes.
Yeah.
Wacom is the industry standard.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much all that can be said about that. Yeah. I mean, they're good quality. I mean, there are alternatives, but this is the one that you're going to want to get your hands on. Just
because if you're going to do anything professionally, this is the one that everybody uses.
Yep. So get yourself acquainted with one of these. Yes, I agree with the XP Pen. That's pretty good. I mean, even if you're there's another one, Huion, that is pretty decent, I would say. It's not nearly as good. It doesn't have the same amount of like points of articulation and things like that. My favorite, to answer your question, I'd probably still have to go with Wacom, because
the Wacom One, or something bigger than that, because the Wacom One is like a bit of an entry level one.
Sure,
but it's still really good quality. It's not the Bamboo.
It's not the Bamboo
because it's a screen. Mm-hmm. It's not the Bamboo, but it's also not the $1,300 one we interviewed.
That was my favorite.
Well, of course.
if I had to give a truthful answer, the big one that is a computer is my favorite. Just because of the amount of flexibility that you get. My only real, I'm just gonna be real with you. I do have a problem with Wacom a little bit. They've got a problem with their drivers. That has been a constant. It's been a constant problem over the years, where the computer loses the Wacom drivers and it messes everything up, or you randomly lose pin sensitivity, and it's real annoying. I'm not gonna lie, that's a really annoying problem, but it's not like a breaking problem. You just get annoyed by it. Mm-hmm. So and I have used different products. Like I've used an iPad for drawing, which I I don't know how people get real good at it, but I guess it's kind of the same as using a mouse to draw.
Right.
You just, when you're hindered, you get good at it.
Sure.
If
you lose your right arm at some point, you can start writing with your left.
Yep. If you lose both, you learn how to use your feet.
Exactly. It may not be world class, but you get good at it.
Yeah. I've used that. I've used. I have been using my. Oh man, what is it called? My Surface Pro for years for drawing. It's not the best because the surface is too smooth, and it makes it difficult to.
So the brand new Surface pens, which I want to put my hands on, apparently add haptic texture.
Weird.
Yes.
Weird. But that would help.
Yeah.
But I wonder, would it give you grip? Because it's two problems in one.
Okay.
You're not getting haptic feedback, and you're also losing your... It's hard to explain.
It's not solid on solid. The new ones aren't. The actual tips are textured.
Okay. That's nice.
So it's not solid on solid, which I know is one of my problems. Because the
you-
original one wasn't.
Yeah, and you just
The
lied.
black one that's around here somewhere wasn't solid on solid. It was textured. I don't know why they went away from that.
I don't know, but it definitely, you glide all over the place, and so you have to make the compensation in your head. You have to tell yourself not to do that. And
Yeah.
It's just not comfortable. But overall, I would say the big beautiful Wacom tablets. Those are the way to go ultimately. But one of my friends used to use these the smaller one tablets. It worked for her perfectly.
I know a lot of people that work on ones. One of the guys that was at our CES 2020 coverage made a thing basically to turn an iPad into a one, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
Is that you?
That's me.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Sounded like water. And he based it on the one.
Okay.
The whole concept was based on this design.
To get it to that point. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
We've already talked about video lights. As far as mechanical keyboards are concerned, I will divert 100% to Avram on that one. He is our keyboard expert. He's not with us tonight, but
I'm a little baby when it comes to mechanical keyboards. I love mechanical keyboards. I know them enough to know which color switches I like. I don't know these other deviant ones. Even getting the Logitech keyboard that I have now, that one has its own kind of proprietary switches that I didn't know existed. So Avram is the guy definitely to talk to, because I want to learn more from him about mechanical keyboards, because that is a fun subject, and that is a fun realm in general. Are we still on?
yeah, we're still on.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, I wonder how much that one costs. Excuse me. That's where I'm always at. Is a lot of these like tiny specialty, mechanical keyboards. They're cute, They look nice, and they might have like a wide variety of switches that you can get for them, and they may even have like a whole variety of keycaps that you can get for them. And they may even be heavy. I love when they've got like metal bases and stuff like that. Oh, those are wonderful. But they're really expensive. Like, I don't want to spend $300 to $500 on a tiny keyboard that doesn't even have a number pad on it. That just seems absurd. Patriot Viper, huh? That looks cool.
The outside world can't see because it keeps flickering. So I'm on Tom's Hardware right now looking at a roundup done by Avram. For gaming keyboards, he's working on a review. If you watch the Pilch Point this week, he was showing off that he's working on a review of a whatever they called it. Not a 60% layout. It was like a 75% layout or something. He said it was a weird format, but that he was liking it so far. And I saw that he and his daughter were switching out switches this week.
It's so adorable. I'm like, oh my god, she's got the best life.
But he's got the Viper, and then Cooler Master 522. I know you guys can't see. Corsair K70, and then the Black Widow V3 Pro.
I liked the one that he had, that 75% one or whatever. Because you don't normally get those. I like the smaller keyboards just for like... for either... I like hooking them up to my consoles. So I have an easy keyboard to type in passwords and blah, blah, blah. And if they look cool and nerdy too, then that's an added bonus. But like, but it's nice. But they normally don't. I normally get the 60% ones because I'm not made of money. But his looks like it actually has the number pad and it has some like I think he even said it had arrow keys, didn't it?
Yes.
They normally don't. Yeah. So that's really nice.
That was the thing that was unique about that one.
Mm-hmm. A separate number pad. Holy Panda switch. Third-party number pad that's less than a Razer keyboard. Yeah, that's true. I've always tried using like a separate number pad with my little keyboards, and it always feels just a little... I feel stupid. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just feel like a dummy. I'm like, I could just be using a regular keyboard. But then that, that defeats the purpose. I have seen this brand around though, this Keychron.
Yeah. This is a brand that you generally want to avoid.
Mm-hmm. I thought so.
Yeah. They're not a brand that's a thumbs up. When it comes to keyboards, tomshardware.com, look at Avram's keyboard roundups. That's always your best way to choose a keyboard.
Absolutely.
I don't know Kanto, so I can't speak to it.
Except for it's the the first region you start in playing Pokemon. That's about it.
So I don't know. I've had indeed Pokemans. I've had some really great Edifier speakers. Some Alltech Lansing speakers that were really good. Mm-hmm. Even Rosewill. We did a product review on some Rosewills 6 or 7 years ago that were really high quality. I don't know this company though.
Sure.
A Fender Amplifier. Duh.
Yep.
Adobe CC. Yeah, that's a pretty good recommendation for somebody who's getting into content creation.
Sure. Yeah, that is a good idea. Actually, $10 a month. That's not bad. You're not chucking out $100 some odd bucks for a suite. So I think that's pretty solid.
Newer's green screen. Yeah. Again, Newer is a company that we're big fans of.
Yep.
Again, they're powering our studio right now. The Logitech Stream Cam, I believe the general consensus on this from Tom's Hardware was that it was a skip. Not that it was a bad camera, but that it just, for most people, did not add anything that the 922 didn't already do.
Sure.
Nanoleaf Shapes Triangle Smarter Kit. Yes, they're nice. I will still recommend the Prisms.
was about to say, I don't think they're nice for that price, though.
Yeah, no, they're so expensive, and they don't do what the Prisms do.
Nope.
That's
if they were less expensive than the Prisms, then we could talk.
Mm-hmm. But they're less capable.
Mm-hmm.
They're physically smaller. They have only one color zone, as opposed to the Prisms that I think have 16.
Yep.
From what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it's also one of those things of like, okay, let's say you guys get a bunch of Monster products in your house. I know this is sounding like
I haven't been. And I guess talking while wearing a Monster shirt.
This sounds like we're shilling. But, I mean, I've seen this in action. So, like...
Both products
in action. And one of them just makes sense to me. We're in a time where you do have all of these... You might have all of these LED products that are different.
Divergent.
Yeah, in your house. But let's say you have a lot of Monster products and some other, LED or, light bulbs, smart bulbs, stuff like that around. With Monster stuff, they all work together. Yeah. Even the Prisms. Yeah. They're all within the same ecosystem. You can literally control all of them from one single application.
And they're not a closed marketplace.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We had something I bought a year ago came with a free smart bulb.
Yep.
And we plugged it in a couple weeks ago, and the Monster app went, "Hey, there's a light bulb. Do you want to add it?"
And we're like, what?
Yep. And it was the same thing with those USB plugs. It was like, hey, there's a USB plug. Do you want to add that? Yeah, and I uninstalled the app from the manufacturer.
Which is sad. But I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it just, once you see something like that happening, it just makes sense.
Yeah. And it's hard to then say, well,
this more expensive.
There's this Nanoleaf triangle, and the people at Nanoleaf are friends too.
Yeah.
I want to put that out there. Mm-hmm. I've known them longer than I've known Jennifer, who's in charge of the Monster Luminescent stuff. Right. I've known the people at Nanoleaf way longer. They make a great product.
Yep.
But it's just not as capable, and it's way more expensive.
Yep.
So, the Drop Alta that's here, Adam, is this the one that you have? Because I know you have a 60% drop keyboard. Is this it, or is this an altered one?
Hope he's not in ad jail.
Yeah, he might be. He was just talking about it a minute ago.
Uh-huh.
And that takes us to the end of this one.
That would be the last thing, wouldn't it?
It would.